This video is going to go through the three poems that go along with the rhyme lesson for today. The first one's called Annabel Lee by Edgar Allan Poe. So I'll read through it and just kind of talk through a little bit of it as I go. It was many and many a year ago, in a kingdom by the sea, that a maiden there lived whom you may know by the name of Annabel Lee. In this maiden she lived with no other thought than to love and be loved by me. I was a child and she was a child in this kingdom by the sea, but we loved with a love that was more than love, I and my Annabel Lee, with a love that the winged seraphs of heaven coveted her and me. Okay, I'm just going to pause to go through a few things. So first of all, if we look at the rhyme scheme, we will just be looking at the end of each line. It's kind of spaced out weird here. I'll fix that quick. Okay. So we have a go would be an A, and then C would be a B because those don't rhyme. We say may no, so no rhymes with go. So right now we'd be at A, B, A. We have by the name of Annabel Lee, which rhymes with C, so we'd be A, B, A, B. With no other thought, so that'd be a new one that doesn't rhyme with anything else. That would be a C. And then me rhymes again with Lee and C, so that would be a B. So we'd be at A, B, A, B, C, oops, and B. Okay. And the rhyme scheme does change a little bit, so we'll talk about internal rhyme as we go along as well. The other thing I want to mention right off the bat is kind of the context of this poem. So we have this poem by Edgar Allan Poe, who usually writes very dark, depressing works. And this one isn't really depressing, but he is very focused on death, which is not uncommon for him. So there's this person named Annabel Lee, who he was in love with. He met her as a child. So it says, I was a child and she was a child in this kingdom by the sea. And they were very much in love. It says, we loved with a love that was more than love. And it says that the winged seraphs, which are like the angels up in heaven, coveted her and me. So they were jealous of their love. Okay, that's going to be important as the play goes, or as the poem goes on, that the angels in heaven are jealous of their love. And this was the reason that long ago, in this kingdom by the sea, a wind blew out of a cloud, chilling my beautiful Annabel Lee, so that her high-born kinsman came and bore her away from me, to shut her up in a sepulchre in this kingdom by the sea. So because the angels were jealous of them, Annabel Lee has been killed. She has died. So that's what it means by a wind blew out of a cloud. It killed her. The angels not half so happy in heaven went envying her and me. Yes, that was the reason, as all men know in this kingdom by the sea, that the wind came out of the cloud by night, chilling and killing my Annabel Lee. So again, he's emphasizing how it's because the angels were jealous of them that she was killed. But our love, it was stronger by far than the love of those who were older than we, of many far wiser than we, and neither the angels in heaven above nor the demons down under the sea can ever dissever my soul from the soul of the beautiful Annabel Lee. So no matter what anyone tries to do, he will always be tied to Annabel Lee. They are basically soulmates. They'll be together forever, even after she has died. So that's what it means by they can never dissever his soul from the soul of hers. It means they can never be taken apart. For the moon never beams without bringing me dreams of the beautiful Annabel Lee, and the stars never rise but I feel the bright eyes of the beautiful Annabel Lee. And so all the night tide I lie down by the side of my darling, my life and my bride, in her sepulchre there by the sea, in her tomb by the sounding sea. So again, he will always think of her, he sees her in the stars, and he sees her when he goes down to sleep. At the end here we see a pretty distinct change in the rhyme. Here we have a lot of internal rhymes. So we have the stars never rise, but I feel the bright eyes. So we have that rhyme there. We have one down here, and so all the night tide I lie down by the side. Okay, tide is going to rhyme with side, and this is also a slant rhyme with rise and eyes. It's really similar. And I believe that's it for internal rhymes down here. Nope, never mind. Beams and dreams up here too, for the moon never beams without bringing me dreams. Okay, so there are many examples of internal rhyme down here. let's go on to our next poem, which is very different in terms of rhyme scheme and just the general tone of it. So this is very short. It's called Buffalo Bills by E. E. Cummings. And on your sheet, you'll notice that E. E. Cummings is all lowercase, which is actually how he spelled his name, trying to emphasize that he's not important enough, that he would ever emphasize his own name. That's also why he never capitalizes the letter I in his poems. He did a lot of fairly experimental things in poetry. So you'll notice all the strange indentations here, and you'll see words without spaces in between them. That's pretty typical of his poetry. But this one's called Buffalo Bills, and Buffalo Bills, you can see in the picture here, is somebody who led this Wild West show. So you can think of kind of like a cowboy. So you can think of that as you listen to this poem, is that he's this cowboy who everybody looked up to for entertainment. Buffalo Bill's defunct, which means he's useless, who used to ride a water-smooth silver stallion and break 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pigeons just like that. Jesus, he was a handsome man. And what I want to know is, how do you like your blue-eyed boy, Mr. Death? So there's not much to this poem. First of all, I want to point out that there is no rhyme scheme that we can follow here. This is an example of a free verse poem. And also, for kind of getting what the main point of this poem is, you have to think about kind of the fall from glory for Buffalo Bill. So he used to be this person that everybody would look up to. He could do anything, okay? He would break 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pigeons just like that, okay? He was a handsome man. But in the end, he died. Okay, so it's emphasizing that no matter how much you do on this earth, no matter how much you're admired, everybody's fate is the same. Everybody will be taken to death because we are all mortal, we're all human. So that's his point here. Let's move on to our last one. So again, this is a free verse poem. Our last one is more conventional again. I'll just point out before we start, you'll see brain, so that'd be A, and you see fro would be B, seam doesn't rhyme with anything, that'd be C, but then through is a slant rhyme, so fro and through would be an example of a slant rhyme. But it would be A, B, C, B, because we count the slant rhyme as a part of the rhyme scheme. You can see later on there more like ear and here. Well, that one's not a slant rhyme. But it's following that same rhyme scheme through many of these. Not so much here though. Broke, down, plunge, then. So it does eventually kind of break away from it. Anyway, this is I Felt a Funeral in My Brain by Emily Dickinson. This is also fairly depressing, possibly even much more so than something like Buffalo Bills. But we'll read through this, talk through what it means, and I'll again kind of point out how the rhyme scheme is tied in there. I felt a funeral in my brain, and mourners to and fro kept treading till it seemed that sense was breaking through. And when they all were seated, a service like a drum kept beating till I thought my mind was going numb. And then I heard them lift a box and creak across my soul with those same boots of lead again, then space began to toll. As all the heavens were a bell, and being but an ear, and I and silence some strange race wrecked solitary here. And then a plank in reason broke, and I dropped down and hit a world at every plunge, and finished knowing then. That's where it ends. So we have this metaphor that this person is feeling a funeral in their brain. So it's like comparing all of their worries and their difficulty understanding the world with a funeral. Okay, so all of their struggles, all of their difficult things that they're trying to deal with are being compared to a funeral. And that this funeral is not giving you any comfort. So a funeral can be something that brings people a lot of comfort. This metaphor clearly is not supposed to be bringing people comfort. The mourners are treading to and fro. They're just walking back and forth. After they're seated, there's a service like a drum beating till I thought my mind was going numb. So this is not a comforting sound in any way. It's making the mind go numb. And when when the person hears them lift a box, it creaks across that person's soul, and their boots of lead being down against them. So nothing is very positive throughout this whole thing. And then at the very end, a plank in reason breaks away. It's like the floor on everything that made sense, or like everything that made sense is just kind of taken away from this person. So it's like they're falling through something that was solid in their mind, like that's gone now. And as they fall, they hit all these different worlds. They drop down and hit a world at every plunge. So every single spot that they fall, they're hitting another thing. Um, and this brings about this great revelation that this person finished knowing then, and we have nothing. So there's no hope that's given to the reader other than the fact that this person who fell, who went through this terribly depressing time and basically lost everything that was normal in their life, fell and eventually came to this great realization, whatever it is. So she doesn't really want us to know what it is. It makes us very uneasy because we're given no comfort after this person has gone through a really tough time in their life. This is also where the rhyme scheme breaks away. So it's pretty consistent through the early parts. Soul, toll, drum, numb, fro, through. It's a slant rhyme again. Ear, here, and then we have down. And we kind of have this slant rhyme almost, knowing, but it's not even at the end, so we definitely can't count that. And then it just ends with the word then, completely breaking away from what was a really consistent rhyme scheme. So you can see how the rhyme scheme sometimes can kind of go along with the meaning of the poem. Here, it's supposed to be chaotic. It's supposed to kind of make things a little bit faster paced and a little bit more just like how people would normally speak almost. Not really, I guess. This isn't how people would normally speak. But it's supposed to be more accessible to just normal people than something like this. However, here it keeps a consistent rhyme scheme and then just loses it at the end, so you can feel things kind of breaking apart. So it kind of goes along with the message of the poem. Rhyme scheme doesn't always do that type of thing, but in some cases like this one, it can actually add to the meaning. So I just wanted to show that as well. Okay. So you are then ready to move on to your assignment for today. So you can close this video and start working on that. Thank you.